With integration being such an important part to the Two Interact story, the story wouldn't be complete if we didn't have a very powerful resource scheduling solution that is tightly integrated with time and attendance, and with leave management, self service, workflow, alerts, payroll, and everything else that matters in Interact. While many companies have a separate HR, payroll, time, and workforce management system, in Interact, everything is in one system. So the resource scheduling system knows which people are on leave and which people are assigned to which jobs, and it also knows what competencies are required for those jobs. One of the important functions of Interact is using 24/7 shift patterns and using the time clocks that we offer to collect the time and validate the in and out time of your employees against the 24/7 shift patterns. We can then use these shift patterns to schedule work for different clients, projects, teams, locations, and so on. Interact HRM is very generic and highly configurable, which means that the types of shift patterns which you can use are entirely up to the company's needs. But we also offer options based on best practices, which are used around the world in different industries. For example, we can look at a 4 on, 4 off shift pattern type. This means the employee will be working 12 hours a day for 4 days and has 4 days off after that. You can choose how many teams will be working in order to achieve the coverage that is required, and you can name those teams the way you want. We can see a detailed shift pattern right here. In this case, it has been set up as a rotating shift, which means that it changed from night shift to day shift, back to night shift, and each time there is a 4-day break in between. You'll notice that at all times one team is working the night shift, and another team is working the day shift. Let's look at another example. Here's a case where employees work 2 days and they work 2 nights. And as you can see, at all times somebody's working the day shift, and somebody else is working the night shift. Another example is the DuPont model, which is a rotating shift that provides 24/7 coverage using 4 crews and 12-hour shifts, while providing a week off in between. Now, how does that look and interact? Here's a graphical depiction of the same shift. The DuPont shift, which has 4 teams or crews, and they work 3 days on, 3 days off, and they get the night shift for 4 days, and then have the whole week off, and so on. After this, they go back to 4 days on. At all times, somebody is working the night shift and somebody is working the day shift. Once you create the pattern type and the pattern rules, then the system will automatically generate the pattern for you. Let's look at how a fire department can use Interact for its scheduling needs. Firefighters typically work 24-hour shifts. We see that when we look at one of the work schedules that a typical shift requires 1 fire captain, 2 engineers, and 3 firefighters. Now, my shift supervisor will be able to go and assign the correct people to the shift. Here you can see that we can assign the firefighters and the status changes from vacant to assigned. As we do so, and this task will be done through self-service by the supervisor who is in charge of assigning people to their shifts. And once they are assigned, we can approve, and here we have a Team B, which has all these employees as a result. The next step is that we can assign the work schedule to these employees for a specific period, or we can use the shift planner, and after we choose one employee and click the Generate button, the system will pick Gus and schedule him to work 24 hours on the first of the month. Then he'll be off for 1 day. Then he'll work another 24 hours. And it will go like that as per the shift pattern that we saw initially. This particular shift pattern type is called 3-platoon California roll shift. Here you can see there's always somebody working a 24-hour shift with 3 teams or crews, and they get 4 days off in a row, and then they go back to working 24 hours per day. The system can create the schedule for every month of the year, as long as required. Everyone works through self-service. Your supervisors, your employees, your project managers. Everybody can log in and see the information that they need to see to make sure the shifts and work schedules are assigned correctly. Then the attendance records will be pulled from the time attendance machines. Finally, these will be compared. The overtime hours will be calculated, and everything will be sent to payroll automatically, without any manual import or export throughout the system. Interact's resource scheduling system can also be used for project-based companies, in which case you may define your different types of projects and link them to specific clients. You can define the activities that need to be performed in those projects, including presenting those activities in Gantt charts and linking those projects to specific shifts, teams, employees, work orders, and equipment. Equipment can be important because it may place constraints on how resources can be allotted to specific sites or locations. Equipment may also require maintenance for which the schedule would have to be adjusted. So everything can be scheduled and set up in Interact, and everything is integrated so that you have one singular system that considers all aspects when you are scheduling your resources to get the job done.